point in time where I'm living in there, right in the hole, in the bottom, like watching TV. That's not today though. How cool is that, right? It's like talk about it and now it's happening, right? Downstairs, let me go find somewhere where I can talk to you about this. This was the next phase in the construction process. We've now gotten rid of the house, and now we have to do the site work and prep for the pouring of the foundation. Now, the way I approached this was, and for all contractors or everybody that you're looking to deal with, you want to get at least 3 estimates, right? You want to generally get that. When I started asking around, you can hear what people say. If somebody isn't willing to break something down for you, not break the pricing down, just be done with them. If somebody says, I'm only giving you a lump price, then okay, thank you very much, find somebody else. Because the only way somebody would give you a bulk price like that is because they don't want to spend the time breaking it down, or they can't break it down because it's just a number they pulled out of the sky and they know it's probably going to be too much. And with a bulk price, you can't go compare apples to apples against somebody else who actually breaks down the invoice. There were 2 companies that broke down the invoice. One was Tobar Excavating, which is right down the road, and another one was Wiggers Construction. And Wiggers Construction was the first guy that came out. I just started working the network. Hey, who should I go with? And his name came up a couple of times. I reached out. Gary, who's the owner of the company, came out and gave me a list. I'm like, can you give this to me in a breakdown? And broke down every single thing. So, and you'll see certain things like there was stump removal or concrete aggregate for the driveway. And when you don't need that, then guess what? That comes off the list. If some guy just gives me a bulk number and I don't need something, it's money right back in his pocket. So that's how I was able to come up with Wiggers. And Wiggers was the company that everybody, when they're like, oh, where'd you get that number? Wiggers. Oh yeah, he's really good. And when you hear that, it's confidence inspiring. I hired Wiggers Construction, totally recommend them. And they came out there, did the excavation, and start the site work. Here we go. All right, so here we are on site. We've done a couple of things since the demo. So the demo is easy. This is still what's left from the demo. The demo and the stumping of the property, removed all the stone, removed the foundation, removed the house, and then they carted it all off, and then they removed the big stumps from the trees that we took down. Now, next step after that, we had to mark, you see the pink stakes here, are reference stakes from the surveyor to mark the edges of the house or the corners of the house. And then the site guys who are here now can obviously use these as reference points. And obviously they don't have to be square here because the house is going to be all the way over here. But they came here and they used spray paint, the orange spray paint. And you could see this here is going to be the line of the house. Now they've already driven over this. And they've got the measurements, and it goes off of feet above sea level effectively. So that's how they can ensure consistency. And if you look, this here is actually, this is the edge of the old house. There's still a little bit here, a little bit of stone, but this is also going to mark, this is the edge of the new house. So the foundation, although it was initially going to be a renovation, when the basement was shot, they said, look, you can just pour a new one, just put it in the exact same spot, which is why we're here. It makes life a little easier, and we have a nice fresh foundation. This here is going to be a little porch, which you see there, he's sitting in a hole. That's not going to be part of the house, but that is just getting ready because that's going to be a slab of concrete for where the, and it's obviously goes wider, it's only inside the orange, is going to be a slab for where the patio is going to be. And that's as deep as the hole is going to go, which is going to have, we were shooting for, hopefully when we were able to pour a new foundation, we're like, can we go a little deeper and have a 10-foot ceiling? Because I want to have a golf simulator in it. But it looks like we're going to be stuck at 9 feet. Because if you see the chunks of rock there, let's see if I can give you a little zoom here. There's some decent rock here. And they said it's probably just safer. We'll be carting out more dirt, which we factored in on our application. We had to do the application to remove the soil off property.
These guys weren't aware of that, but we factored in more dirt coming off, but we're obviously just going to keep it on property. I don't think anyone has an issue with you keeping dirt on property. It's only when you move soil off property that they need anything. But this is fun stuff. You'll see the Optimum truck over there in the street. And the Optimum truck in the street I've been waiting on him forever because I've never had Optimum here. And if you look up on this power pole, I'm going to be relocating this power pole here to the other side of the property because I don't need a power pole running along my driveway. So it's going to go in that little, like where that pole is in the street, that green one. It's going to go over on that side of the property, so it's sort of out of my field of vision every day. And I've been trying to get them out here to take this line off, which is just an old cable line. But I've never had Optimum. I had Verizon Fios for internet only. And when I'm relocating this power pole, you see the power is disconnected. They said if this line's not removed, they're just going to cut the pole there, and then this becomes my problem. So putting in the new pole over there, we're going to have, they've already upgraded in the street the transformers, so I'm going to have 300 amp service, which is a lot of juice. But if I ever have electric cars or anything like that, it'll cover everything, cover more than what I need. The site work here, these flags, and you see whatever's left of them, are marking the gas lines, and then the blue ones over there, you'll see mark the water lines. And we're going to be upgrading both obviously all the services coming into the house. This house was built before this town existed. This house was built in 1921, and the town was formed in 1923. But you see these lines mark the water line going right out to the street there. And we're going to be putting in a, let's just say a 1.5 inch water line into the house versus this 3/4 of an inch line that exists, or that was there. But all the utilities will go underground, so instead of having that ugly power wire go over the property, it's everything here. Everything costs a couple $1,000. It's just, oh yeah, cool, that's not bad. It's only a couple $1,000, but lots of couple thousands of dollars add up. So here we go. Stay tuned as we move some more dirt. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so we're making progress. We have a larger hole here, 2 machines. Wiggers is the go-to company over here. And I've heard nothing but good things, and they've been doing a crack-up job thus far. We ended up going, the revised plans when we could pour a new foundation were to try to get a 10-foot basement ceiling. But with the rocks that are down there and the amount of dirt and the extra effort, we're going to stick with the 9. And you can see here they're marking off. Obviously the hole is larger than the ultimate foundation will be. The orange line will be the foundation as to where the house sits, and it's going to come all the way up to here, so the same wall. Now you can see we are pouring stone in the bottom. Normally we wouldn't be doing that, but in order to save ourselves time and make it a little bit less of a risky proposition with the weather, they can pour concrete. If it does rain or anything like that, we have a good base in which to pour concrete down on. So that's just making our lives a little easier. It's 10 days before Christmas now, something like that, 12 days before Christmas. We're going to try to get the foundation poured by Christmas, but that requires good weather for the most part, and then a good crew to be out here doing everything they're supposed to do in a timely manner. But right now, we got a big hole, and if you look over there, you can see we've been looking for the septic, and we finally found it. That's the pipe that goes to the septic. So the other septic is like really close to the other property line there. It's funny watching them work in tandem. That truck right now is just for the stone that's filled with these rocks that we're using as a base to the foundation. But if you ever go to a job site and you wonder why there's no grass and all dirt, well, this is why. This was all, I was thinking of even mowing it one last time before and having guys come in and clean up the leaves. I don't see any leaves anymore. All right, we're gonna keep digging. We'll see you in a bit. All right, so we're just wrapping up day one of week 2. We took a full week to do the demo and the removal. Now it's day 1. I'll figure 3 or 4 to do the site work. And then when the site work is done, comes the foundation. So stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow and we'll finish up this half of the house. And then we'll move on to something else. All right, here we are. We're on site day 2. Obviously, it's a cloudy day and this isn't good. So we've got Wiggers over here doing the work, and Wiggers is obviously a go-to guy. It's actually one of the guys that I started this entire process with because he was the most upfront about what everything costs and everything, and every person that I mentioned his name to said like, oh, he's good. So I'm glad he's on site here. He's talked me into, as I said yesterday, this stone, because we just got 2 inches of rain this week, earlier this week. That's before we did this. And luckily the ground sort of froze, giving us the opportunity to get in here. But now we've got another 2 inches of rain coming today, and rain plus a lot of dirt equals mud. And I'm trying to get this foundation poured by Christmas, which is in 10 days. And we got to be really aware of that. So as you see, the entire foundation hole that we're digging is coming along well. This here, this orange line, is going to be the finished grade on the finished level. This is going to be ground level in the front. You could see how it's marked out, and it's already getting muddy as the ground is thawing. You can see how it's marked out for the footprint of the house. And obviously we're not talking about a palatial estate here, but the house is going to be about twice this size. So we got a couple more hours. We have to try to get this all done today, just because with the rain and everything like that, this is not going to be fun to work with. So they're in here cranking out, getting this done. The hole over there is extending about as far as it's going to extend in total. Here you can see where the chimney is going to be. You can see stuff sort of framed out as to where it's all going to go. We found the septic tank is somewhere under here, or it's a little further. I got to see where it is. The reason that dirt up there is higher is because that's where the porch is going to be, and the footings for the porch are only going to go down a couple of feet. They don't have to go all the way down to the where we're pouring the basement. You actually have a very good look here. We got dirt all over the place. There's a lot of dirt coming out of here. But you can see, let me just walk over here. You could see the difference in the dirt. And the dirt was the issue yesterday, and then also the elevation change from the back to the front. You could see that the front of the hole here is a lot shallower than you go back. You can also see the differences in the dirt. You see a lot more of the hard rock and red clay back there versus the changes in the dirt as you come forward. Right there by that little rock, let's see if I can point to that, like right about there, you have the septic line. And this is all, I mean, I'd say we're 70% done here. Where the stone is down is to allow the rain and everything to pass through without turning all of our dirt hole into a big muddy puddle. And it allows us to complete the process of pouring the foundation in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, this is my first time stepping foot in my soon-to-be basement. You look at this and you're like, wow, look at the size of that exercise room, with a Z, by the way. The playroom, the wine cellar. Look how big that wine cellar is. And then you come and look at it in person, and you have to realize that this area here is going to be the wine cellar, right? So you've got this whole area, which in my head I was going to have like a table, a drinking room, and a wet bar, and then the wine cellar. And then you see it, and this is going to be the wall. Follow this line, not that one. And this is the wall. And then you figure the wall is going to get poured, and then you're going to lose some space for the finishing, so the studs and the sheetrock. And then that takes off room, and then you're going to have the wine rack. So like legitimately, I'm only going to be in this little square with wine racks going around here. And then I look at this and I'm like, well, is that really enough room? This is going to be now maybe a 2-person drinking table, not like a big, like I was thinking of putting like a big round almost poker table in here. And just when you look at the plans, it makes sense. When you look at it in practice, you realize this house is not as big. This hole is bigger than the house because you have to set your frames and then you have to backfill and fill these holes back in. But I mean, from corner to corner of the house is from here to Tyler over there, which is not a tremendous size thing. Now you're thinking 4 bedrooms in that house, the gym that's going to be down here, let's just say it's marked off from, let's just say about here. Like this is the gym. And when you look at it, you stick a treadmill, you don't have to put much in there to fill that gym up very quickly. So you got to realize, and this is the wall. So, I mean, that's not a tremendous amount of space. It's very easy to look at plans and say like, wow, it's a pretty big place. And it is bigger than the old place, but it's really not that big. And to me, I don't really mind because the size of the rooms and everything were sufficient. And the smaller it is, the cheaper it is in material. All right, the machine is off site. I would look at my watch, but my watch is probably wrong. The rain has just started, as you can see. And I gotta say, it's a good news that it's raining and not snowing, because 4 inches of rain is like, whatever, 10 feet of snow, whatever it is. It's a lot of snow. So the rain is welcome. We'll see how much of this dirt stays where it belongs. But I guess piles of dirt don't all just wash away. They just sort of, there's a little runoff. Here you have the finished site work. And you can see that my house is, like, it's going to be cozy, which is a nice way of saying small. But this is the whole thing. And I say that because, like, I think in my head, I'm like, wow, there's so much room for all of this stuff. And then you start putting it into practice. And, I mean, my wine cellar is probably the most telling in that that's not so big. So, I'm excited to get it done. It'll feel pretty nice and cozy. I don't need a big house. It's like, that's an older... It's like a 90s thing with the McMansions and everything like that. I just want a nice house with decent sized rooms. I just hope the rooms aren't too small and they don't feel too cramped to me. But just if I go back before the planning board, when I go back before the planning board to put in a garage, when everybody tells me how big it is, I'm going to have to say, come over to my house, and this is the house that you said was significantly too big. Tell me how big it feels now. But here you go. The gym will be right over there on the right under the living room, and then my bedroom up there. Back there is kids' playroom. Over there we've got, see, it just feels so small. I'm telling you, like, we got the kids' playroom, the gym, the wine cellar, the sauna, the steam room, jacuzzi, utility room here, and then the steps in the middle. And I say all that, and it's like, wow, that's huge. But I don't think it's that huge. But anyway, we've got all this done. We'll see as it starts framing up and coming together what it's going to look like. But right now, the site work was done. Took about a day and a half. I don't want to say it took 2 full days. 8 a.m. till roughly like 3 p.m. and then 2 p.m. So not as much work as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a week. We're ready to pour the footings now. That's going to be next. But you now have mountains and mountains of dirt. Most of it is still here. A couple truckloads went off site. And we will see you tomorrow, or see you next time, with the next phase of this operation, which is framing and pouring the footings, which is what the foundation sort of sits on. So stay tuned. See you then, and we'll see how much of this dirt goes back into the hole. I mean, it's very clean now. Hopefully it stays that way. Rob Ferretti,